Hello and welcome to Forgotten Clubs of Wrexham, where today we're going to be going in search of the Rhosddu Recreation Ground. The Rhosddu Recreation Ground was a football pitch which existed in Wrexham, opened in 1879 and existed on this site at least until about 1885. As you can see behind me, I've just walked past the church and I've walked past the school. Keep these in mind because these will become relevant afterwards when we sort of find out where the pitch was. So the Rhosddu Recreation Ground, as I said, opened in 1879. It was used by varying clubs in the Wrexham area, such as Wrexham Civil Service, Wrexham Excelsior, Wrexham Victoria, and then Wrexham Albion. Wrexham Albion merged into Wrexham Football Club and effectively became the reserve team in the mid-1800s, really. But the reason that the Rhosddu Recreation Ground is known is due to its association with Wrexham Football Club. So in 1880-1881, Wrexham Football Club had fallen out with the owners of the racecourse and the charged rent and refused to play there for 2 seasons. So instead, Wrexham moved to the Rhosddu Recreation Ground. Obviously, nowadays you think WrexhamAFC and they've become synonymous with the turf. It sort of goes hand in hand now. Wrexham formed with the turf. And next to the ground it goes hand in hand, really. But when they played at Rhosddu Recreation Ground, they had an association with another pub, which is the Walnut, which is behind me, which is sadly closed down now. But from reports about Rhosddu Recreation Ground, we know that the pitch was by the Walnut. The Walnut was used to get where the players could change. It was used for club meetings. So from the reports, it says that the pitch or the ground is adjacent to the Walnut. So we know it's not behind the Walnut because there's buildings there. However, these houses that I'm at around now were here then. So it would have been a case to crossing Price's Lane, out the pub, crossing Price's Lane and onto the pitch. So Rhosddu Recreation Ground wasn't used just for football, it was used for athletics, it was used for cricket, it was used for cycling. So we know it has to have been a large area to host all them sort of sports, really. So we know it's by the Walnut, but we don't actually know where. On the Ordnance Survey maps, there is two fields across the road, and this is where the church and the school come into it. So there's reports of a fire, and the fire is in the field next to the church. So it says there's a load of hay has caught fire, and the fire brigade managed to stop the fire spreading to the church. And then the report says that the field that the fire was in the field next to the Rhosddu Recreation Ground. We also have reports that a game between Wrexham and Newtown White Stars, that Wrexham defended the town goal. So we know that there was a goal sort of back to Wrexham town. So which means the pitch would have ran parallel to the main road nowadays. By looking at the maps behind us on the internet, it looks like the area of the Rhosddu Recreation Ground is this street here. So we've got the school here, and then these houses behind us. So the pitch was around behind me right the way down there. So yeah, so this area that I'm walking in now would be the area of the Rhosddu Recreation Ground, which was home to WrexhamAFC for 2 seasons in the 1880s. Obviously you'd never know that now, when you look at it. But yeah, this is another part of WrexhamAFC's history, and obviously, as mentioned with the Walnuts, that is another connection of the club to another pub in the area. And as we've covered, there is links between football clubs and pubs going right the way back. As I said, they use pubs for meetings, they use clubs for players getting changed, and all manner of events, really. So yeah, Rhosddu Recreation Ground, home of WrexhamAFC in the 1880s. The last mention of football at this Rhosddu Recreation Ground was in the 1885. Now I am aware that there's a plaque commemorating a Welsh Cup semi-final at the Rhosddu Recreation Ground, which was in the 1880s. But the plaque is in the Rhosddu Recreation Ground, or the newer one, which is like further down that road there. But that recreation ground doesn't come into existence for at least another sort of 20 years, really. So the plaque is probably not where the Welsh Cup semi-final was played. It was actually this site here. I don't know if you can see on the camera above the houses. You can see the massive floodlights of the racecourse. I don't know if you can see them on here. Obviously home in Wrexham now. But yeah, Rhosddu Recreation Ground, where we played for 2 seasons in the 1880s. If you're interested, some of the clubs I mentioned earlier feature in my Forgotten Clubs of Wrexham book, which is available on Amazon. Thanks for watching.